adventures. So today we've got, I think, a pretty cool video. I'm gonna be talking about my bedroll. So my bedroll has been through quite a few different iterations and versions. We've tried out a whole lot of different ones on the channel. You've seen a few in the past. We've had one similar to this where we've had this wool blanket here, and then we've had the sheepskin. Problem with the sheepskin is it's very small, but it takes up a lot of space when rolled up. A whole lot of space that can be used for other blankets. This is actually 2 blankets and 1 here. We've tried the classic kind of Aragorn over the shoulder, the Civil War style over the shoulder bedroll, and that's been able to hold 2 blankets. But this is 3 blankets. We've had one in the past, which really turns into a ground cloth kind of thing. But this, I think, is the best version I've come up with. So in my last trek, my last adventure I've been on, like I said, I had configuration similar to this one, but instead of these 2 blankets here, we just had this and the sheepskin. For right now, I'm replacing the sheepskin just because it takes up too much space. It takes up the space that can be used for other things. So I'm going to show you guys how I wrap this up, how I wear it, and why I chose this. First, let's get to making this. So you guys find me on the floor of my living room. So now we have our 2 rolls, and we're going to unroll them so I can show you how to roll them. And while we're unrolling them, we can talk a bit about what I might keep in here. So let's start with the first one. This one is just a simple green army surplus blanket, and this can be rolled up pretty nicely, and you can actually put some stuff in here. In the future, I plan to put maybe some extra string, some spare socks, things like that. Inside of here, you could maybe put a pipe or something like that in here to keep it dry because you don't want your pipe getting wet. Anyway, so this one's just a simple army surplus blanket. And when you see how I've rolled this up, you see I've done it in a very particular way. So I've folded it in half lengthwise so that we have the full length here. And what I did was I folded this corner forward like so, and then I let it run off. And I do that on both ends, so when it's like this, it's not a perfect rectangle, but when I fold this end also and move it like so, it creates a long rectangle that fits the length that I want. So we're gonna roll this up, back again. I like to use weights, just some simple dumbbells that I like to use to weigh one end down so I can pull the other end tight when I'm rolling it up. So we're gonna do that. We have it weighed down on one end so that we can then roll up the other end by pulling it extra tight. So you really want to pull it tight when you really want to remember to pull the blanket as tight as you can so you can get a nice tight roll. So there we have our first roll. This second roll is much more special because it isn't just one blanket, it's two. So this first blanket is very thin. It's still wool. It's a very thin, almost linen thin, a bit scratchy. And this first one, when I unroll it, you see that I fold both ends in like that. And here is the second roll. This blanket has seen some things. Don't care me or my family got it, but if you go to 18th century reenactments, you'll see a lot of reenactors carrying around this exact blanket with the blue stripe. Anyway, this blanket has seen a lot, but it's very well woven and very warm, and for hopefully an upcoming winter trek that I go on, I'm going to want to be warm. So we can throw that blanket off to the side for now, and we're going to unroll this one. And as you can see, I rolled it the same way I did with the other one by folding diagonal corners in. This roll especially has to be rolled tight because you're putting another blanket on top and then you have to strap them all down. And having two rolls of similar size is ideal for this bedroll configuration that I am doing. So here we have this second blanket just about ready to be rolled up around with the other blanket. So this time we're going to start on the other end, and we're going to roll it up very specifically, and I'll show you guys how I do that. So I don't know if you guys can see me from here, but we're pretty much starting out by just putting the roll in the center and bringing it down to the end. And then we bring these two corners in over, and that will cover the end of the bedroll. Now, we will take these ends and we will roll them, we'll fold them over with the end corners that we had already folded. Do the same on this side. So now that that's just about ready, it's pretty rough, but you don't have to be super precise so long as you roll it tight. And you just start rolling first. Remember, you want to bring the weight down to your opposite end so you can then pull the blanket tight. And you're just pulling it nice and tight and rolling. So if you look at a lot of bushcrafters today, whether they be primitive bushcrafters or whatever, whenever they wrap bedrolls, they usually have multiple, or they have the very classic big bedroll that's practically a sleeping bag. So I obviously am in need of multiple rolls or multiple blankets to sleep on, especially when it's cold out like it is today. It's very cold. We have about around a foot of snow. Having multiple blankets is pretty important, along with a separate cloak or separate multiple cloaks. So, as you guys can probably see, I hope, these rolls are about the same size, of similar size, so that you can roll them the way I'm going to show you. So we have the two rolls, and I start by buckling on the first strap to the double roll with the two blankets, and I put another strap on. So it's pretty simple, but it may get more difficult later on. I connect another strap to the previous strap just by looping it through one of the holes. Wrap it around and tie it on. Do the same on the other side, slightly differently, just because not all the straps are the same size and have buckles. So there, I try to tighten and redo the knot on the old one so that they're both nice and strong. I then take the strap and pull it through at an angle so that the rolls sit vertically on my back. And now we've got a pretty sturdy bedroll that in theory, and has in the past, sat vertical, and my quiver of arrows has gone diagonal, so it doesn't mess with that at all. That's how I've got it. Now we're going to talk about why I went with this configuration and not with any of the others. So let's do that. So I went with this bedroll configuration over all the other ones that I had tried, because this one messes with my back quiver, the one you guys have seen in multiple videos, the least. It messes with it the least because it sits vertically on my back. I haven't seen anybody else on the internet go with something quite like this, and this is kind of my own design, although it's completely plausible that I'm wrong, and lots of people have done something like this. Now, I've tried the pretty classic single roll with a strap that goes diagonally. The problem with that is if it goes along with my back quiver, it messes with it more. It bounces more, in my experience. I could be wrong. You guys might have different ways of hanging your roll. And I've tried the classic Civil War, Revolutionary War, Aragorn over-the-shoulder roll. And you guys saw that in one of my more recent videos about adventuring in winter. And that actually had all three of these blankets in it. What I did was I wore this thin blanket, it's kind of an undercloak under my big gray cloak. I had the white blanket rolled up inside of this green blanket that was rolled lengthwise or rolled widthwise, something, whatever, so that it's long over top of that. that worked pretty well, and I had some ideas with that. It just doesn't work as well as this does. So I came back to this beautiful thing, and it works the best. And so this roll, this exact one, is what I will be taking on my upcoming, hopefully, winter trek. Don't count on that, but I really want to go on a winter, snowy, fantasy camping trip. Whether that be by myself or with Clark or with Tristan or with a family member or by myself. I'll be taking this. I might be taking some other cloths, like an undercloak or something, or a different roll worn somewhere else on my body as maybe a separate ground cover or part of a tent or something like that. But this is my bedroll. This is what I will be sleeping on. This is my sleeping gear for that upcoming trek. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about camping, fantasy, historical camping or treks, please put that in the comments. If you have any questions about my role or how I go camping or anything like that, please put that in the comments. Love you guys to talk some more. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff. And until next time, farewell.